Hello everybody, my name is Tiffany, I'm the Tipsy Artist, and today we're going live to paint our Rosy Rooster. So here we go, we've got it all set up, ready to go. I have, in the description, I'll be sure and place all the supplies. We have everything on our website, tipsyartist.com. And I've worked ahead just a little bit, and I've done all the transfer work. So this comes with your kit. And we have transfer paper. Just a little helpful hint here, we have the more the dull gray side that faces up, and then we also have the shiny, more black side that faces down that does your transfer here. So I did work ahead, and I went ahead and made this come through on the canvas, so it's all ready to go. So this is how it looks initially, and you can leave it like this. This is just like a graphite look, basically. And then with your kit as well, it's always optional, and today I wanted to go ahead and show you how it looks without it. Hello everybody, welcome. I see all these lovely people out there. All right, hope y'all are having a beautiful day, and if you're not, then you need to come relax and paint and have a little bit of wine. It's awesome. Yay, yay, see lots of hearts. All right, so you can use a permanent marker to go ahead and trace everything as well. Just basically reaffirms all those lovely lines that you already did. So for today, I'm going to give you a little visual on that. I'm not going to do all the work, but I'm going to definitely do just like the outside edge here so you can see what that looks like. So beginners love this process a lot. This just helps you not lose any of those shapes that you have traced and worked so hard on. So it just kind of keeps those firmed up there. Hello. Good afternoon, Tammy, and hi, Relinda. Thank you. Yeah, this is one of Joe's favorites. Actually, my honey bear Joe bought me this hat. It's like my little cheetah girl hat. So, yeah, just something kind of fun and different. So I don't know what everybody else is experiencing where you're at, but we are having a wonderful 70-degree day out today. So it is beautiful. So I do encourage you to, at least sometime today, get out there and enjoy the sunshine. It's been a little bit, I didn't finish my sentence. I do that all the time. It's been a little bit interesting to find a place to paint back here. I know that sounds weird, but I'm in my sunroom. We get lots of beautiful natural light, but in the winter we get a real harsh like sun that comes in. And so sometimes I can't even see, and I'm like this, trying to look up at the camera. And so that's interesting, yeah. So I had to kind of wait for it to go down just a little bit. So now we're all good, and I can actually see y'all, not be blinded. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do a few more of these little lines here, little curlicues, just to give y'all an example of how this works. But you can see how it did make a really nice line to begin with, just with the transfer paper. So that is very helpful. And again, this step here is definitely optional. So just a few more steps. All right, so we'll leave some of this kind of unfinished and some of it lined out just so you kind of get a feel for the difference there. I'm gonna go ahead and put that up, and I've got my paint all ready to go, bucket of water nearby, and my brushes, and again, everything comes with your kit here. And a little bit of paint. I was painting yesterday, so let's see what I've got. Oh, this works out well. So actually I'm using a lot of these colors today, so yay. I wasn't sure what I was going to find. But we do have a really big paint set too that comes with your kit. And so let me go ahead and give you the instructions on what to mix up first. So in our background, we're going to make this beautiful turquoise color. So I am going to be mixing up some primary cyan blue and some bright yellow green and then some titanium white. All right, so, and by the way, this piece is great for the kitchen, and here's why, because it gives you good luck in the kitchen. It's symbolic for that. So I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but it's a real thing. And I don't know about you, but I need as much good luck as possible. Actually, my husband thinks I need to stay out of the kitchen. Maybe that's his good luck. If I will just stay out, that's what he likes. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start here with a nice big quarter size amount of the blue. And then we will do some of that bright yellow green. Let's do another, another big amount of that. About a quarter size heaping dollop there. And I've got some white already loaded up on my plate, so I'm just gonna grab some of that. So let's just grab a big old dollop. There we go. And hello, new people. I see more people coming on. Hello, hello. Wishing y'all a wonderful day. I pray that your day is relaxing and full of peace and a good outlook and good news. I hope everybody gets good news today. That's really what I hope for y'all. All right, so we have this kind of a turquoise look happening here, and I want to make sure it's a little bit even lighter. I want to add more light to it, so even more white. So if you want it to be really light, and of course how dark it is up to you, but I would say hello. Hi, Kirsty. Welcome. And if I don't say hi to each person individually, I can't always see every single person, but I always go back afterwards and check out the comments and say hello to everybody. All right, so I've got this really light color here. I've added a lot more white to it. And keep in mind that if you do like it more white like this, then I would actually I would change the mix a little bit and do a big dollop of the white and then come in for smaller, like maybe pea-size amounts of your blue and your bright yellow green. Make those a little bit less in proportion there. All right, to start with, I'm gonna go ahead and take my Mama brush. That's what I'm using right now. She is a 1/2 inch flat. I love the Taklon. Our kit comes with a Taklon brush. That's what this is. So it's a nice, affordable craft brush, but it's very firm and long lasting. So I'm gonna just crisscross this pattern back and forth. I hold that brush more out to the side, parallel to the canvas. This will give me really good coverage over the surface. It also helps me have some nice texture over the top. And then as I work, I'm gonna grab a little bit of some pure white and push that into the mix as well. And that also gives me some nice texture. Now this is one option for how you lay on the color in the beginning. Another way to do this is just to smooth it on back and forth, nice fluid horizontal strokes back and forth. And then you can also get nice little accents of white in the same way, but you can just push those back and forth. So those are two options there. Both ways are very relaxing, and that's super important. You want to make sure that you stay relaxed through the process. So we'll just keep this going. Now also, I do recommend that you can certainly add some water to the mix with the paint. It helps it move a lot more easily on the surface, much more fluid. But also, if you are going to do that, make sure that you have your canvas on a flat surface, flat tabletop surface. So, which is real easy. I always work on an easel for y'all just so that you can see the whole process while I work. But in order to be able to add water, it's usually a lot easier just to go ahead and place the canvas flat. And so I'm sure you've noticed that in a lot of painting tutorials where people actually just have it on a flat surface. So it's actually much easier that way when adding water. All right, we're gonna continue spreading this out. Now we're about to have to do some cut-in work, so we're gonna have to change how we hold the brush a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is, still using this bigger brush, I'm going to add a little bit of firm pressure. Let's check the end. It is nice and thin, so that's good. So that's going to help me do some cut-in around that edge. Gives me a lot more control. And some of these smaller areas, I can still cut in with this bigger brush, but if you do not feel comfortable doing that, I totally get that, and I think it's wise to step down to either your little buddy brush, little 1/4 inch flat, or your little bit brush. All right, I'm going to continue just placing this blue in and around our cute little chicken here. And then once we've got that line work done around the edge, then I'll just kind of pull that out to the larger area of the canvas and just kind of feather that out to help kind of softly blend back into the background. Feather in those brush strokes, and again, just nice fluid horizontal strokes. Adding a little bit of white as we go, just back and forth. Get just as close to the edge as you can, and then pull out and go all the way out to the side. So we'll do this all the way around. Now, one other option too is when you're working from home and you're doing this, you're not under any time constraints like I am for dry time, so you can absolutely paint your entire surface area with all of the blue first, and then just let it set up and dry, and then come back in with your transfer paper and do all of your line work over the top. So that's another way. That is also really helpful. That also works. Now this is an area that I'm actually now wishing I had done with Sharpie. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that. I'm gonna grab one. Let's get a good one. Because honestly, this is all gonna bleed through. Now I can't touch this to wet paint or it will kill it instantly, so I have to be really careful to not get anywhere close to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and avoid that area. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and the reason why is because it will bleed through the paint, and then that really saves me from having to do a lot of really intense cut-in work. And so the same is true for you as a beginner. You can go ahead and rework this in to begin with, and it just saves you a lot of time. Or like I said earlier, paint the entire background first. That way you don't have to do any cut-in work at all around this whole shape. And then you can do all your transfer work on top. I got a little bit of water here. So again, it's okay to have a little bit of water in the mix, but much easier to do it on a flat surface so that you don't get water runs. That's the main thing. Hello, everybody. I have to put more white on my plate as well. So around this little area, because I didn't actually do my permanent marker around here, I'm going to go ahead and take my little bit brush. Let's go ahead and do a little twist here. Like I'm going to twist it between my fingertips, twist into the paint, and let's go ahead and work right into that little area there. And again, that permanent marker line just really helps me not lose any of my work. I pushed into a little bit more white, get a nice soft feathering blend there. Let's take this around that little dot. Kind of going back and forth in between the white and that blue that we mixed up. use this all the way down to the bottom. And a lot of this here is also going to be a lot of some fun abstract grass that will come in at the very end. So we can come back in over the top of that too. Here in a little bit. Little details. And I'll do just what I have to with the little bit brush, and then as soon as I can, I will switch over to the bigger brush to go ahead and work into the rest of the surface area here. I'm going to go ahead and fill all this in just to be safe. All right, let's go ahead and give a little rest here. We'll use a little bit again. I need more white. All right, so I've got a lot more white here. And let's go ahead and just push that into the background. And let's grab a little bit more blue too. We want to keep that mix nice and consistent. And then push that back and forth. Really nice. We're coming in around that crown. And adding more white. Help softly blend that in. Getting really small again, so I need my little bit brush one more time here. At least, probably a lot more than that, but take it out of the bath, make sure and dry it off, just because I don't want any water runs while it's vertical. So we have a little bitty spot right in there. And then this gets a little bit small and tricky in here too. So I'm pushing into the white and that blue that we mixed up earlier. And again, that was our primary cyan blue and our bright yellow green. And then a lot of white. And then let's go ahead and win and roam while we've got our small brush, little bitty areas to work into. All right, wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and switch back to my mama brush. A little more white. I'm gonna make sure that I've got a nice soft feathering out here, nice soft blend into that blue. Push this around. We're getting there. Really beautiful blue sky. more cut-in work. I'm going to go ahead and come in with that darker blue to begin with. A little bit of white. So when I'm doing the line work again on the cut-in, I do hold the brush more over, just like a pencil. That gives you that nice thin line edge right near the edge there. Makes it a lot easier for the cut-in work. And then I can relax with it a little bit more and then turn that brush more out, you know, to the side. Get the flat surface of that as I feather it back out into the background here. And a lot of white in this really, I think, helps it blend back out and feather back out, helps soften it a little bit. So down in here, I'm doing a little bit more of a crisscross action to kind of softly feather that out to where you won't see any harsh brush strokes that dry in a certain particular pattern one way or another. Softly feather that out. All right, beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take my mama brush, give her a bath, and then we're gonna start to work in some of those beautiful darker colors. Totally different color palette. Let's see, let me find another clean plate. Oh man, that's kind of funny. I forgot I put some backup white back there and my line art got all into it. Let's get that, I'm gonna get that cleaned up real quick. Sort of. See? It's great, isn't it? Okay. Let me just take care of this real quick. That's gonna get me later. I'm in an art studio, so I can kind of just throw it anywhere. Paint is everywhere on everything, so it's all good. Okay, so now I still need that clean plate because this one had white all over it. All right, so that one has white on it too. Yeah, I kind of got white everywhere. There. Okay, so clean plate, yay! That took me long enough. All right, so let's see here. We are going to find some cadmium red and then some primary magenta, and these are going to be in equal parts because I am not, for this anyway, sometimes I love cadmium red. It's very warm though. It kind of has an orange quality to it. So I want to cool it off, make it more of a cool red. So there it is. So let's get a nice little visual here. There it is, about equal parts-ish. Doesn't have to be exact. Now I have a clean mama brush now. And then I'm gonna go ahead and mix these two together. And you can see how it's really starting to make this beautiful, cool red. And then we're gonna start to paint this into our cute little chicken or rooster, or, well, someone who is a chicken expert will correct my, I don't know, my farm knowledge, my foul knowledge. Yes. In fact, I think I called this a crown. I think that's actually a comb. And I think this is a gobbler. And if anybody out there is a big chicken expert, this is probably a rooster. I don't know. So, I don't know. So lost right now. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and use my little buddy, and where's my little bit? I'm gonna find my little bit over here too. All right, these two lovely helpers are gonna help me a lot with all this painting here on the inside. All right, so I'm gonna start with my little bit brush. This is the smallest brush that you have in your kit. So I'm gonna go ahead and twist it in between my fingertips, and that will give me a nice fine point. And then let's go ahead and paint into this little, I think this is called a gobbler, I think. I wanna say that somebody at my show, one of my shows, taught me that. So we have that, and then we also have it up here at the top. And just fun little curves here. Now these black lines, these black curly cues that are actually transferred, those will stay, definitely will bleed through the paint, which is awesome. So you don't have to worry about those being lost. And then of course there's a couple of options for beginners. You can either hand paint those on later, or your kit comes with a permanent marker, so you can always just go right over the top, and that's especially helpful if you struggle with a shaky hand. So very helpful to have that already done. Now initially I want to get the precision done, so I'm going to be holding the brush just more like a pencil, coming straight forward towards our canvas. And then when I want to feather out those brush strokes, then I turn that brush more over to the side where it is parallel to the canvas, and I just kind of make my strokes much more light, much more of a gentle touch, and then just concentrate on kind of lightly feathering out all of those brush strokes. All right, so we have a good start so far, and then I still have a lot more red to do here, so I'm going to go ahead and work into this surface area. And I can reinforce that black line later, but I'm going to get right next to it. Come around that little curve. And then we'll be coming in and around all these cute little flowers here too. Make sure and keep those in place. And so a nice little twist is always needed. You have to keep loading the brush, but also keep twisting it into a nice fine point. And so when we go over our flowers over the top here too, it will also help reinforce the shape a little bit. Keep coming around here. All the way. So just lots of fun line work for right now. Definitely need our little bit brush for all this, especially these really tiny parts. All the way around. She's gonna be so pretty. Give you lots of good luck in the kitchen. I know I need it. And hopefully just good luck in general. So that's always good too. And again, on some of this, these are really high quality, like they're more of a heavy bodied paint. So I think it's easier to add a little touch of water to this paint to help it be more fluid on the surface. So that's really easy for you to do when it's on a flat surface. So you can see here, without the water, it gets a lot of that dry brush look. And I have to be really careful in a vertical position because of water runs. So, but again, if you're on a flat surface, definitely take advantage of being able to use a little bit more of the water. And just adding that in really does help it spread over the surface area. And it will fill into all those little white spots. Lovely. We're getting there. A span here. And some of these areas are getting to be fairly large around the detail to where I can work back in with my little buddy here in a moment, which I definitely will do. It just makes it a little bit easier to use a bigger brush when you can. And I will have to come back in. It's looking a little choppy and blotchy around this area too, so I will come back in and kind of feather that out a little bit. Just getting that first coat down. First layer, if you will, with all of this red. Making good progress. All right, so the areas that are a little bit choppy, I want to make sure and get a nice little dollop of paint there on the side, and then now let's just kind of lightly turn this over to the side. This is still a pretty small area, so I just need to lightly kind of feather that out. Get a second coat right over the top. Okay, so now go ahead and switch over to our little buddy. Cleaned off my little bit, let it dry. Now we'll come back in with little buddy. This is our little 1/4 inch flat. Load it up by pressing back and forth, and then let's make sure we have that nice thin line on the edge there. See, we have some bigger areas to work into now, so this will be a little bit easier to get into. And then kind of lightly feather that out a little bit. Same thing here, kind of turn that handle more over to the side where the flat side of the brush faces the canvas, and then we'll lightly feather that out. Work all this in. Now with this, because the feathers are going in this direction, you can also kind of turn that handle this direction. And yes, you see the brush strokes, but honestly it kind of looks like feathering strokes. So you can actually kind of let that just be just the way it is, because that actually works for you. So we'll just take them up in that direction, the way that the feathers would go. So it just looks like a little bit of a feathering stroke happening there. And so remember, you can always come back in with a second coat over this too. Sometimes that's what red takes. It's very translucent in nature a lot, so that's just normal. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and rinse out my brush again, and now we're gonna go ahead and start on some of our beautiful roses. So I love teaching roses, one of my favorites. And you know, we already have a great base for it here with this red. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pick up, I had all that white out earlier, so let's get that one more time here. Let's grab a little bit of that. There's my puppy dog. All right, let's work that in. So basically this was a mix from earlier, and we had about equal parts cadmium red and primary magenta. Now I'm adding a little bit of white, and this will bring me to a really light pink. So this is a great foundation for these cute little roses in here. So we're gonna work that into that shape. And at first, roses look like big, lumpy circles. I'm just gonna fill that in. Lovely. Now let's rinse out. And I'm gonna do the pattern work over the top. So let's grab our little bit brush again. Now just some pure white to start with. I'll twist into the paint. And then we're gonna start by making a pattern that kind of looks like little circles, or half circles rather, and then also another way to think of it is like making a parentheses. So here we go, like little parentheses here. And hello everybody out there. Welcome, welcome. So we're gonna put these all around the shape of our little rose in a circular pattern, just little half circles all the way around. And that creates that very organic, like petal effect. And thank you, Karen, I appreciate that. It's getting there. So again, little half circles here. Keep taking that all the way around. Okay, so that is a great start. The next layer is going right into the dark again. So I'm going to use my little bit brush again and go right back into that darkest shade. This is the primary magenta and the cadmium red, even mix on this. And then I'm going to do what looks like just a tiny little comma. So tiny little comma, and then lift off with a light hand. Same thing here, right in the center. That's that center shadow of the rose. And then I'm going to push right back into that darker shade. And then we'll just do a few more of the same strokes that we just did. Little tiny half circles. Just kind of lightly place those in a circular pattern around the rose. Gets a nice soft blend with that white that's already there. And again, it's really starting to look like really fun little roses. It's like magic. All right, and if you ever feel like you want to come back in with more white when you're done, you certainly can. Sometimes you can get a little heavy-handed with the dark, but you can always come right back in and just relayer. All right, wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start to work on our really pretty little leaves here. And one of my most favorite colors is coming up. We're going to be using some beautiful Viridian. Oh, it's brand new. By the way, when they come in your kit like this, they have a little foil top, so I do need to lift that off. So we just need a small amount, little pea-size amount there. And you can keep it just pure like that with a little bit of white, or you can add a little bit of blue to it too. It gives it just a tiny touch of turquoise, but right now it has almost like a beautiful teal quality to it with the white. So I did add just a little tiny touch of white to it. And then let me show you a little bit of blue with it too. So that's also really pretty. And I will often do turquoise leaves. So that's another really fun option here too. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that brush and just go ahead and twirl it back out into the paint. And then we're gonna work in our fun little leaves here. Here's another one, peeking through. All right, I love it. Okay, so I want to extend some of this really beautiful. This is our Viridian, a little bit of turquoise, and I want this up here as a detail. So I'm gonna go ahead and push this up and around this little shape here. And then what's fun is I can actually leave some of this white just as like a little peekaboo, just kind of shows right through. Now, if you want everything to be completely painted, you can certainly go over it with white and then come back in with the black line work over the top. Or you can just relax with the process and know that your canvas is actually painted and primed white, so you can leave some of that as just white on your canvas too. All right, still using my little bit brush. And remember, as you continue to load up, I'm gonna go ahead and twist it again, so that will give me that nice fine point, so it makes it much easier to control. Hello, Jody, thank you so much. And hello, all these people, I'm seeing lots of names up there now. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I'll be sure to say hi to everybody in the comments. So adding another little detail there. Coming back in with a little bit more of that pure Viridian. It's just a little bit darker. Adds a different look. Add another accent up here. All right, so now I want to go ahead and do some of these really pretty little flowers that are happening. So many different options. Let's go bright. All right, so we've got some really fun bright yellows in this kit, so let's have fun with those. All right, so we have some cadmium yellow, so I'm gonna start with that. And it is brand new, so I gotta take the little foil off. And I'm gonna start with a little pea-size amount there. And then let's grab some primary yellow. Wonderful. And then just in case, let's also get some cadmium orange. That'll be really fun. So we'll have all kinds of fun colors. And then let's get some more primary magenta. We'll have that off to the side. That's just gonna be almost like a really intense hot pink feel to it. Oh, and you know what? I haven't used violet in forever. Let's do some of that. All right, so we have some lovely violet. We could actually make some lavender. That would be so pretty. It's also brand new, so let me get that cap off there. All right, so just, I'll show you. Lots of pea-size dollops there, and I'm gonna go ahead and start to have fun. All right, so let's see. This big flower here, I'm gonna mix up the cadmium yellow and the primary yellow. Let's do those together, still using my little bit brush. And then we're gonna go ahead and work this into all those little petals. And I know it's a small move, but the line art that you have in here with the trace bold makes this part, I think, really nice and easy. It's just almost one single stroke right through that little shape. So just lay it on and then just pull it right towards the center. So again, your brush is kind of loaded up, a little bit fat in the belly of the brush, and then you just touch on the end and then pull towards the center. Yay! Okay, let's see. Let's do a little bit of orange mixed in here too. That'd be pretty. I'm gonna add a little bit of the yellow to it, make it a little more peachy. Just because we have so much of this dark red, I still want it to be contrasting. I want that nice contrast right next to it. And I've got it. So again, it's just a touch on the side and then pull right towards the center. Let's do the same thing up here at the top. All right, now I have that magenta and violet out. And I've got my white. I'm gonna grab a little bit of white and I'm gonna mix that with the violet. And oh boy, I'm getting some serious sun in right now. This is, can y'all, I hope y'all can still see me. I don't know if I can see y'all or see in general. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and lay this into the flower. It is time for some curtains. It's just time. I'm gonna have to have my husband makes everything, y'all. He cooks, he sews, and now he needs to sew some curtains. This is gonna get crazy. I might be painting blind here in a little bit. All right, isn't that pretty? That's awesome. Okay, so I hope y'all can see it. I'm like, isn't that pretty? You're like, what? I can't see it. I hope you can. Hopefully the sunlight is hitting it well and maybe I'm just getting a weird reflection. But I've got violet and the white, so that was really awesome. And honestly, I think my magenta, I know I put that out there, but it's probably gonna be too close in tone to the red. So we're just gonna stick with this lovely violet and go ahead and work this in. Yeah, that's looking really good. And then I've got a really fun dot technique to come in over the top of all those little flowers. Now I'm going to switch back into my violet and I'm going to make a little line here. Kind of echo around this lovely shape here. It's just a fun little accent. Do the same thing here. And I'm doing this with a violet today. I have done it in the past with a blue, so either way is really pretty. And add just a little tiny touch of the cadmium. I'm sorry, primary magenta is what I meant to say. I'm going to switch that in there. And I want this to be kind of a little bit lighter, finer point. All right, now let's learn that really pretty little dot trick. So I am going to use the handle now, and let's go in with, you know what, let's use some black. So it's just Mars Black in your kit, just like that. We're gonna dip right into the paint. There it is, and then we'll just press straight forward. And you can do this with the black or the white. And I want a bigger dot on that bigger yellow flower, so I'm going to go ahead and come in with a bigger brush. So you can see how it's a much bigger circle there. So let's go ahead and hit that one more time. And some of these, you know, I want a bigger dot right in the middle. All right, that is looking great. All right, so now we need to go back to that lighter, warmer kind of orange and the yellow. So let's go in with our cadmium yellow and our primary yellow and go ahead and do a little twist back into that. And let's go ahead and get this cute little beak in here. And I want a little accent, a little soft blend there on the little gobbler. That'll help make that pop a little bit. And then we're going to come into just a little bit of some white and then have this kind of fade right over the top of that violet. So you get a nice soft fade, almost goes to a nice little fade of lavender right over the top. I'll go back into a little bit more of the darker violet. Just kind of hit that one more time on the edge. Get a nice soft fade between the two. All right, and then we've got some really pretty light greens happening in the bottom, but I'm gonna come back in with a little bit more of some cadmium green. And I'm gonna put that right next to my viridian that I had earlier. And then also, let's grab some bright yellow green. All right, this is gonna be pretty. All right, so I'm gonna use a little bit here. We're gonna mix these two up. Nice fat belly. And we're gonna spin this out in little circles. And I've got that viridian nearby. I will come back into that here in just a little bit. So nice swirl moves now. And I've definitely got a thick dollop of paint, so I have a nice rich texture over the top. I'm really enjoying the texture over the top of this now. So nice heavy coat. A little circle there, just kind of spin it around like a little Cheerio. Again, this is our bright yellow green, cadmium green. Getting lots of texture. Now I'm making it almost like little grass strokes that come up from the bottom. Now I'm gonna grab a little bit of that viridian. We're gonna have that kind of push through so you can start to see how that feathers in, gets a little bit of a shadow happening. This is a little bit more of that viridian. And we're gonna start to extend this out a little bit. So, and you can keep it more just decorative curlicues if you want, or you can add a little bit of this grassy effect. So either way, you can kind of keep it more minimal and simple, or if you like the look of this grassy feel, you can add some of this. So I'm just starting at the bottom and just pulling straight up and then just kind of lifting off with a light hand. And I'm definitely working in with the bright yellow green and then also the cadmium green. Let's do a little touch of that viridian in there just to give a little bit of a shadow to it, some more depth. And then we'll take this all the way across the other way. Again, this is cadmium green. Start at the base and then pull up, a little bit of a soft curve to the stroke and then lift off with a light hand. Now we're going to push in a little bit of that viridian. So it's three colors that come back and forth into this. Again, cadmium green, bright yellow green, and then a little bit of the viridian. Left me for a second, the name. There it goes. And then if you want to kind of pull in a little bit more of that curlicue shape, kind of randomly. And then we can also add a few little fun dots over the top of this as well. So let's do a little bit of that. right, so we want really nice contrast, so let's do more of the bright yellow green, and then we'll dot into it. All right, I'm gonna use a bigger brush handle so that it's more impactful. There it is. And let's dip into that bright yellow green, and then we'll make little tiny dots right over the top. So I did 3 on one side, and then 2 on the other. And then I'm going to sprinkle these around the center as well. You know what, let's do a few more right in there. That's fine. It's kind of fun to add a nice little polka dot. And you can certainly do this in lots of unexpected places too, so if you want to add a little bit more, you can. Let's just do, I don't know, just add a few more in here. So it's really starting to have a real fun folk art feel to it. It's really cool. So that gives you a basic idea. You can just go nuts with those if you want, fill it all in, or just kind of go, no, I'm a minimalist, that's okay. All right, so now let's add a little bit more defining black work. So we have our lovely Mars Black here. We're gonna go ahead and get some of this out. It is a brand new bottle, so we need to go ahead and take off that little foil top there. Little pea-size amount, that's about really all you need. You can add a little bit of water to your brush too, helps it spread more, much more fluid on the surface. And then again, I keep mine up so you can see it while I film live, but I would highly recommend that you absolutely have your image flat, especially when you're adding water. You do not want water runs. So I'm twisting mine out into a nice fine point, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a nice little outline around this little shape here. Looking good. Make sure your brush is really tiny over these really fine details. The beak is definitely a good example of a place where you don't want the line to be too thick. So you can see as you refine all of this with this nice black line, it's really making the design work pop out to the front. You can see now he's coming forward. A little bit more water to this black, making sure I don't have too much. I don't want a water run. Follow all these lines. Just kind of lightly bring this out to a nice fine point. Kind of lift off with a light hand. That'll give you a nice little feathering touch there on the end. See, that's what having water in the paint will look like. It's so beautiful, so easy. And as long as it's flat, there's really no worries about the water run, so you're all good on that. Let's go ahead and come in here for one more little line and shadow. I'm going to dot that little eye before I forget. So I'm using the little bit brush, dipping into the black. Let's do a quick little touch right over the surface. Alright, and then coming in over this design with a little bit of that black. A little black stripe in there. And let's accentuate the little leaves. Like little parentheses, another little parentheses, and then a little line in between. And just a little sketch of black around the outside of those little roses, kind of help make those pop towards the center. And then we're also going to come in around all of our little flowers too with a little bit of an accent. All the way around. Make sure that your point is very nice and fine. So again, I'm going to spin it right into that little bit of water and also the paint. A nice fine line, nice fine point. It's looking good. Just a few more to go here. Helps this little bit of purple here too. Kind of makes that pop out over the front as well. Alright, I want to make sure I've got all my, I've got a little bit of detail. I'm going to reinforce these. See how that becomes, you can leave it as being a little bit more subtle behind the red if you want, or you can kind of come back in and reinforce those little curly cues right over the top. Either way, it's very pretty. It's looking really good. I'm going to do a few more little white dots right over the top here. And a little bit brush. And let's go ahead and just push right into the white. I want that right over the top of my little flowers here. Just another little accent. And then you can add a few more little white polka dots here too. So of course these are optional. But if you like the look of this, then it's just a really fun, easy way to make pattern. Dot there, there. Okay. I swear I'll stop here in a minute. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just really digging on the dots for some reason. Get a little fat there, so I'm going to thin that out, and then we'll just do one more little line of these in here. All right, I think we're done. I can't think of anything else to do. So, put a lot of pattern on here. You can always add more pattern. You completely cover it with polka dots if you want to, or even more curly cues and just completely fill it with pattern, or you can leave it a little bit more simple and minimal like this. But I think that's it for right now. But again, we just want to thank you so very much for hanging out with me today. It's super bright and sunny here, you can all see. We just got all the sunshine coming in. So, you know, we'll work on curtains. That's what we're going to do. All these new little things we're having to learn with filming everything online. But, all right, so we'll see y'all soon. Might film again today. Probably will here in a little bit. Wait for the sun to come out of the window a little bit. But, yeah, we'll see y'all later. But y'all have a beautiful rest of the day. See you soon.